Yeah, I just reading like Tyson Fury's book. There's a bit here. Let me just hold on a second. It's, well, Tyson says, in his book, my name's Tyson Fury, heavyweight champion of the world. I'm a flawed character. I suffer from a mental health issues. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. When I first read that, when I was on the plane, I think it was to Germany or Latvia, I can't remember. When I first read that, I was like so inspired like by his bravery, and then I realized, because I'm still struggling to have the courage to accept that and admit that I've got obsessive compulsive disorder. I've got OCD, and I think it's a bit like I've heard the saying before. For example, respectfully, with alcoholics or anyone who's got a challenge, whether it's an addiction or a mental health problem, the denial is what keeps you stuck. But the courage to admit it and be honest about it, and then take the steps to recover, is how you solve the problem. And I didn't realize for so many years, I didn't know that I had OCD, only since going to therapy. But I knew that I had some mental health problem, some sort of anxiety problem, at times a lot of paranoia, a lot of worrying, more in the worry category, which goes hand in hand with OCD. But now, really still struggling, but really trying to come to terms, because I want to get past it. I want to get as well as I can, and it not accept it doesn't define me as a person, but accept that I've had it all my life and it's not my fault. It's a mental health condition, and I've lived with it now all my life, most of my life, not knowing. I mean, like a lot of people, I thought I didn't understand OCD. I thought OCD was, the stereotypical problem where people clean a lot, or they wash their hands, or they do rituals, or they count a lot. I didn't realize that it can be partly that, but it's a lot more. The OCD that I suffer with, intrusive thoughts, worrying, and just really struggling at times with my mind and with thoughts, and constant worries about things going wrong and something bad happening is a big part of it. And for many years, I've said this to my mum recently, I didn't even realize this was OCD. I think, yes, I've had a fear of admitting it publicly, a bit of a worry about how will people respond, but more of the fear is actually the OCD itself, because I always had a fear as a kid, and still as an adult, that if I spoke about my mental health struggles, something really bad would happen to me. I don't quite know what that means, and that is the OCD. That's part of some of the intrusion, and that's what's scary for me right now. But I realize that has been one of its tricks, and something that I wish I would have, if I'd have had the knowledge, spoken about it a lot longer, but I can't go back in time now. So hopefully doing this video, it's been an ongoing process of facing my fear. But yeah, it is hard. It is hard for me to admit it, maybe for others. I've always found it fine for others, but I think we all do that to ourselves. I do it. It's okay for other people, but it's not okay for me to do it. And that's kind of where a lot of the problems of with our relationship with ourselves comes in anyway. So I've got it, I have the condition, and now it's really about learning to accept that. I don't just want to live with it, I want to recover from it. And that'll be an ongoing thing, because a lot of people, there's people that have recovered from it. However that looks, again, that's a recovery, but I've got my own idea, and I've done it before, I can do it again, I'd like to do it again. But yeah, it's always been there. It's always been, since as young as I can remember, there's always been that mental battle. There's always been that sort of thought process of worrying, even when things are going really well, and I'm in a good place mentally, and I'm not really getting much intrusive thoughts. But there's been an intrusion my whole life with this sort of background worrying about something bad happening, and just catastrophic thoughts and fears, and just overthinking too much, ruminating. So I feel like the journey starts from today. It's like, I don't know where to start, but I guess no better time than now and from today. Now it's about putting things in place, practicing the recovery, things I've learned in therapy, trying to get over this. But yeah, I appreciate so many people, Fury included, a lot of you. There's so many people online now that have helped me a lot. I feel like I'm not alone, because it is a lonely illness to live with and deal with, even when things are going well and you've got friends, and even if you've got a partner, you've got a girlfriend. It has been like that for many years of my life. Not always, obviously, but a lot of my life has been very lonely and very frightening and stressful, living with this and not really speaking about it. And not, I didn't understand it really. I just kind of used to just put it to one side and say, oh, I should just ignore that. And that has gotten me through my life for a long time. But now that's not healthy. I can't do that anymore. It's literally killing me, not accepting it, admitting it, and then working on recovering, making progress, at least speaking about it. And because not speaking about it was just killing me, keeping it in. I never really spoke about it properly, only really probably to my mum and my nan. But even then, I didn't know what I was dealing with was obsessive compulsive disorder. I just thought it was a sort of deep-rooted fear that I had as a kid that would surface every now and then. And it would kind of come and go depending on how I was in my life, how well things were going. And now it's making a lot of sense. I can really look back and see and go, oh, of course, it's so obvious now, but I couldn't see it at the time. It's hard to see it when you're in it. Maybe, you're with yourself all the time, and, not an easy thing to spot. Only when I started going to therapy, when I was having a lot of health anxiety, that this therapist discovered it. And then all the signs, all the compulsive behaviors, the worrying, just clear. This is very obvious. And I think that's the thing with a lot of mental health problems, that you can live with them for so many years. And I don't know if there's a level of denial, but there's also a level of just, you're so used to it. That's what happened to me. I just was so used to having it as a kid and bearing with it, when my life was going well, when my life wasn't. But there's always been a struggle. There's been a continuous struggle since I was a young kid, and it's been ongoing. I'm hoping that I can get to a better level of peace that I've ever been. I'm hoping that there is possible, because I don't really know what it's like to live a peaceful life. Only in regards to, in my own way of finding it, I'm starting to question that and go, wow, there probably is a lot of other people in the world that actually have more peace than that I've. That's nice to know. Or maybe they don't. Maybe I'm just presuming that. But yeah, for me, I've had to work very hard to find any peace. That's where most of my peace has come from, which has always been temporary. A lot of it has been going out and taking a lot of action, having to work very hard, which has been good. I've learned a lot. It's developed me as a person. I've helped a lot of people, but there's also been parts that have been unhealthy. It's been hard for me just to sort of relax when things are going well in relationships, in life, because I've always had this background worry and fear that something bad could happen, and I need to be alert and be in control and make sure that that's not going to happen and stay alive. So it's been stressful, to say the least. And there's times that life has been, I've loved it, I've enjoyed it, but it's always felt short-lived. So yeah, I'm admitting that I've got it. It's, anymore. It's not even debatable. So now it's just been about recovering and learning more about the illness, because it just feels like it's in ongoing layers of, so many layers to it that I didn't know. This again, there's so many battles that I have with it. People have, most of the battle is mental, is rumination, but emotional. I struggle with all these things: emotions, thoughts, feelings, worrying so much about other people, which is nice, but it can be unhealthy. Everything's exaggerated and to a very obsessive degree. So yeah, I still give myself a hard time. I still don't feel brave doing this, but I see other people as brave. So I'm trying to work better at that and give myself the credit. I've always struggled to give myself credit for anything in life. It's always short-lived. It never feels good enough, or if it is good enough, I always have guilt with it. I always have, there's other people, they're struggling. It's hard. It's very difficult. So I struggle with relationship with myself. I've always found it easier being kinder to other people, encouraging them. It's a big part of why I think I was a decent teacher, a decent coach. I had the empathy. I'm trying to have it for myself. So yeah, just years and years of just putting, being hard on myself and unlearning some of these unhealthy patterns. So that's all I've really got to say for now. I'll continue in another video.